work for and build this winery. Steve spends time in Australia at the winery, which is run by a French winemaker, but resides here in Denver, which makes a unique opportunity for us to work with him. And I'm pleased to announce and introduce Steve Jacobs and ask you to give it his attention. And again, we're going to interrupt you again about 20-30 minutes for some more information on the other wines. Thanks.
I think I'll stand up there too. It's easier to see everybody in the back. Normally I'm tall enough, but there's a lot of people here. So.
Now I have to work.
Can everybody hear me in the back? Yeah. Okay, so thanks for coming tonight. As Stacy was saying, Margaret River is a very unique climate because we have a very long, cool growing season. It allows us a long time to develop flavors while we slowly ripen the fruit and get our sugar up to the level we need it for making wine. The interesting thing about that is because it stays cool, we maintain great acidity. So you'll notice the wines are very bright, crisp, and clean. That's to that long, cool growing season. And all the acid in there is natural. A lot of warmer areas will have to add acidity back into the wine. We have this great benefit in Margaret River. We develop these beautiful flavors without having to add any acid back into our wines, and we get all these really nice fruit characters and complexity. So the first two wines are all stainless steel tanks. There's no oak in those at all. So they're quite rich and they work nicely as aperitif wines, and they're really nice with light foods, salads and grilled meats on salads, salmon, things like that. The next wine coming up is a barrel fermented Chardonnay. Now the first two wines, just so you know, I mean, we also are recognized by Wine Spectator, which I guess you probably have heard of before. So the first wine was an 88-point wine from Wine Spectator. The second one was 89. The next wine is a 93-point wine, which we've in the last 4 Wine Spectators, we've been talked about 3 times, the last 3 of the last 4. So somehow we've got the attention of those people there. But Margaret River wines are quite different from what you're seeing in the rest of Australia, because Australia tends to be warmer areas and there will be riper styles of wine. So these are more elegant and lighter styles of wine, but still having really interesting flavors. And really designed and made to go with food because of that nice acidity. None of these wines have hardly any residual sugar in them, so that makes them work really nicely with food. Now the next wine is a barrel fermented wine. So we grow a Chardonnay clone that comes from Montrachet, the heart of where the best Chardonnays in the world come from in Burgundy. We also buy our barrels from Burgundy to make that wine, and we make it in the same exact way that they do. And it's been recognized and talked about in Wine Spectator recently that we are a very uniquely affordable Burgundy style of wine, growing the clones and using Burgundy barrels. Recommended retail is normally by us $34. Here in Denver, the retailers here are recommending about $30 to $32. And there are order sheets here tonight that are only for tonight, so they have to be turned in tonight if you want those prices. And then we will turn them into the 2 liquor stores. One, which is SIP here downtown, and Lucas Liquors in the south of town by Park Meadows. Those are the 2 liquor stores that we'll have order forms for. And so I think that this wine is like $25 or $24 tonight, the one we're about to serve. The first 2 wines you had are normally $15 wines, and they're $12 on tonight's order form. And so the difference between the white labels, as you saw the first 2 wines we poured, and the black labels, I grow all the fruit in my vineyard, and I only exclusively make those black label wines. So they're made in a much more crafted style, a lot more work we do with oak and those types of things. So they are more intense flavored wines and more designed to go with more intense type of food. So we're tasting tonight Semillon Sauvignon Blanc up to the Cabernet Sauvignon. Least intense to most intense. The food is also matched. Least intense flavors to more intense flavors. So that's how we always try to match our food and wine. And we're also looking at obviously flavor profiles, but the first thing you look at when matching food and wine is intensity. So I'm sorry to say that you really can't drink red wine with seafood. Some people try it, but it doesn't really work. The seafood doesn't taste very good when you do it. So it's always best when you have the right wine with the right food. The experience is going to be so much better. So hopefully tonight you experience what James has done. It's fantastic. He's done a great job with food tonight, matching up with my wines. So, you know, the story, Eagle Vale, everybody asked me a lot of questions. I hope I can answer all these questions quickly. We try to run our vineyards sustainably, so we put ducks and geese on them to eat bugs, eat worms and garden weevils and grasshoppers, and within 2 days they were all dead because eagles killed them. So that's when we knew we had eagles, hence the word eagle. We have a valley, so Eagle Valley, okay? That's where the name comes from. Even though I grew up in Summit County, graduated Summit County High School up in Dillon, up in Frisco. So I am from Colorado originally, but spent 27 years living overseas. Most of the time while developing this vineyard, I was actually living in Indonesia, running a different business, which is how I got the money to do it, because these things take a lot of money. So that's the story. So I am from here. My mother lives in Silverthorne still. I have brothers on the Front Range here. So I came back to Colorado to be closer to my family, and also to be centrally located to develop some markets here in the U.S. So we sell in Manhattan, we sell in Southern California, We sell in Oregon and Washington and here in Colorado. That's basically all the places we sell our wines. We're small production right now of about 20,000 cases. As I said, the white labels, I don't think I said completed. We buy the fruit, but all the fruit in our wines comes from Margaret River. We don't use any fruit from outside. So we're 100% Margaret River domain, which is a very remote place, so we're very clean. There's no industry near to us. There's no pollution. My vineyard's about a mile off the Indian Ocean. You can see blue whales and southern right whales swimming past. We pry abalone off the rocks on the beach near to us. We catch a lot of nice fish, so it's a pretty interesting place to grow wine, but very, very remote. It'll take you about 35 hours from Denver to get there. And the last 4 hours is driving after you've flown for 30 hours, so you're nice and fresh for the drive. But it's a beautiful, beautiful place. If you ever get a chance to go, you'll get to meet Guy Gallion and Chantal, my winemaker, and his wife, who run the winery and the operation there. And we're very small. We have 7 people, including the winemaker and his wife, at the winery in Australia, and myself here in the U.S. So we are very small, and the family being me, running the business, and so it's good fun, interesting to make the wine. And so later on, we can talk some more now, after maybe James is going to talk, I'm not sure. But we'll talk a bit about the red wines later on. So now we're going to have the oak Chardonnay, which is pretty big and powerful. All right. So the next wine,